My mom said phone addiction is real, and my 30 minutes a day wasn't enough to save us. The timer on the kitchen counter started beeping at exactly 4 p.m. like it did every single day, and I grabbed my phone from the lockbox on top of the refrigerator where Mom kept it during all the other hours. 30 minutes. That's all I got. 30 minutes to text my friends, check my messages, do my homework that required internet, and exist in the same world as every other teenager. Mom sat down at the kitchen table with her coffee and opened her book, but I knew she wasn't really reading. She was watching me out of the corner of her eye like she always did, making sure I wasn't wasting my precious phone time on anything she deemed frivolous. It started 2 years ago when I was 14, and Mom read some article about how smartphones were destroying teenagers' brains and creating a generation of addicts. She came home from work that day with this manic energy, talking about dopamine hits and attention spans and how kids couldn't have real conversations anymore. Dad tried to calm her down, suggesting maybe we could just have some reasonable limits, but Mom was already spiraling into full panic mode. By the end of that week, she'd instituted the 30-minute rule, 1/2 hour per day, between 4 and 4:30 p.m., supervised in the kitchen. No exceptions. My little brother Theo was only 10 when the rule started, so he didn't fight it as much as I did. He'd just accepted that this was how our family worked, that other kids got to have phones whenever they wanted, but we didn't because Mom knew better. I fought it constantly at first. I'd argue about homework assignments that needed research, about group projects where my teammates couldn't reach me, about normal teenage social life that happened after 4:30 p.m. Mom had an answer for everything. Use the family computer for homework with her standing over my shoulder. Tell my group project partners to email me, and I'd respond during my 30 minutes. Real friendships didn't require constant digital communication. The worst part was that Dad went along with it. He'd initially seemed skeptical about Mom's extreme approach, but within a few weeks he was backing her up completely, talking about how he'd survived just fine without a cell phone as a teenager. When I pointed out that was 30 years ago and the entire world had changed, he'd just shrug and say, "Times change, but principles don't." Gradually, I learned to stop fighting. It never worked anyway, and arguing just made Mom extend the supervision period or add new restrictions. At school, I became known as the girl with the crazy strict mom. Friends would text me and get no response until 4 p.m. the next day, when I could finally check my messages during my allotted time. People stopped inviting me to things because they knew I wouldn't see the invitation until it was too late. My best friend Kira tried to maintain our friendship for the first year, but eventually even she got tired of the one-sided communication where I could never respond in real time to anything. I watched my social life shrink to almost nothing while Mom congratulated herself on protecting me from phone addiction. The summer I turned 15, things got worse. Mom decided 30 minutes was still too much exposure to the digital world, so she cut it down to 20 minutes. When I protested, she said I should be grateful I got any phone time at all, that she was being generous by not taking it away completely. She started setting the timer for exactly 20 minutes, and if I even glanced at my phone after the timer went off, she'd confiscate it for 3 days as punishment. I learned to watch the clock obsessively, to cram everything I needed to do into those 20 minutes, to type faster than I ever thought possible. Dad's behavior started changing around that time too, getting more secretive and withdrawn. He'd always been quiet, but now he barely spoke at dinner. He started working later hours, coming home after Theo and I had gone to bed. When he was home, he'd disappear